One. Hello. Okay. Sorry.
Gosh.
um, we can get into it now.
Yes.
Um, and you are doing the first speech, and I will be doing the second, and then we have our timers set to go. We are the AF of This House Regrets the Glorification of Trendy Animals, such as capybaras and other things. So, yeah, you ready?
Yes. Okay,
Okay,
so let's start with our contentions first.
sounds good.
Okay, what are some of your ideas for contentions?
The first things that came to my head were like, I guess like the like protecting of like the animals itself, because the first thing that came to my head is like when these trendy animals like get put in or whatever, and people see them online, like I feel like a lot of like creators and different people online will go and like adopt said animals and not knowing really like how to take care of them or like what to do with them and different things. Like, I mean, for example, like if I got a capybara, I would have no idea what the heck to do with it. And so I feel like that's
Yeah.
what a lot of people might get into a little bit is some trouble with that. And so I think that could be a good possible first contention.
Okay, so we could say like it harms the animal itself.
So we could do, yeah, harming the animal itself. And then for claims, we could do like, oh, also too, we need a low-key before we continue with contentions. Do we want to define the resolution like, I guess glorification being like certain animals that are like trendy or like fashionable online or something like that? I feel like that could be maybe.
Yeah, we could do like, let's see. Um, yeah, like the animals that are like involved in trends within social media.
Okay. Media. And then do we also like what other kind of I know we have capybaras, but what about like what are some others I'm trying to think of like
Yeah.
or
What about like birds? I feel like a lot of
birds?
people like birds as pets, but like that's kind
Birds,
of
okay. What about what was there was another one that was like big pretty recent like sugar gliders, is that one or am I crazy?
oh yes, 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 like the
Okay.
squirrel type things.
Okay, yeah. I don't think those were as big as like capybaras, but I feel like that could
No,
be
yeah.
another good one. I'm trying to think. I feel like there was another one that was like a big thing for a while, but I don't know what else.
Yeah. Oh wait, like otters.
Otter? Okay.
Or
Yeah.
otters.
That works. That works. Just so we have more than just capybaras, because
Right,
I feel
yeah.
like we can work more with other things too.
Yeah.
Okay. And then otters. Okay. And then all right, sick. Okay, so do you want to move into our more so contentions now that we have that, I guess, figured out?
Yeah. So we can
Okay.
go back to like the claim for the first contention.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like people don't like properly know how to care for the animal,
Okay, I like
like
it.
aren't properly educated.
Animals. Gosh, I'm trying to think what else. We could also say um, like the animals are treated misproperly due to like them being like, I guess, social figures in a sense, because like they're being posted up online, probably like abused in some sense because they're being used for content all the time. Like I feel like that would make sense.
Yeah. So like they're mistreated,
Mistreated, yeah.
like
Mis
to their over um
mistreated. I don't want to say like misused because like I don't want to. That sounds bad.
yeah.
Mistreated.
They're mistreated. Um,
You could say they're
maybe
mistreated and used as like, I guess like a figure, like a character almost when they're like an animal.
right, yeah. Okay. Mistreated. Okay. We can also say like it has negative effects on like their physical and like psychological or like state because they're not like properly receiving the care that they need.
Okay, I like that. Okay, so right now I have for my first contention, which is the same here, is like harm the animal itself, and then for claims I listed all those things. Should I move the thing you just said to warrants maybe? That makes sense.
Yeah, like it affecting their physical and like psychological state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could definitely put that.
Okay, cool. I guess that's also kind of like an impact too. I'm trying to
Right,
think.
yeah. Or the impact could be like the overall decline in like the animal species or something.
Decline in the animal's health. Okay. What else? Hmm. Okay, I feel like that's pretty good for contention one, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's good. And we can always come back to it and like add stuff
Okay,
too.
cool stuff.
Okay, so for the second contention, um, what if we did something like it spreads like misinformation to the public on like the animals?
I like that. That makes sense. So, in what sense do you think, like, for misinformation? Do you think, like, what kind of misinformation do you think, like, is spread, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think like misinformation could be like, I mean, you know how some animals are like actually aggressive animals that like you should not touch,
Okay,
can't be
I like
around.
that.
And then like social media is presenting them as like these like fluffy creatures that, you know, everybody
Mm,
wants to pet when they should not be a pet.
I like that. Okay.
I also think too, like misinformation on like the amount of care that they need or like the type of care that they need. Like social media
Mm,
like, can kind of present it as like it's easy to have these like animals as pets or like everybody should have them as pets when
I know what you mean. Okay.
like they require like extensive care.
Perfect. What are you thinking? Anything else for the claims on that, maybe, or no?
Um, I'm like trying to think of what else could be misinformed.
Hmm.
Maybe also that they're like easily accessible. Like you're
Hmm.
taking the animal out of its like ecosystem and out of its habitat, and like social media presents that as like easily accessible. Like you can, get the animal like anywhere.
Okay. Cool. All right. For warrants, what do we want to say? Like social media presents misinformation or can present misinformation. That's trying to think.
Yeah, like maybe it can present misinformation that I just forgot where I was going with that.
Oh, good.
I was really good too.
Social media can present misinformation that. Hmm. I know for impact we can say something similar like spreading misinformation about these animals can like can end in harm to humans, the animals itself. I'm trying to think of else. Okay. I'm trying to think back to warrants. We got 7 minutes.
I know, I feel like this time has like flown by.
No, literally.
Okay,
Um,
like social media can present misinformation that maybe like continues the cycle of like I don't know.
no, I see what you're going with.
Yeah, like
Social media can present the misinformation that continues the cycle of these trendy animals being adopted without knowing the um, full knowledge,
yeah. Or
full
like
knowledge of, I
like
don't
the
know,
full responsibilities one has to
full
take on.
responsibility. Okay, yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. I like that. Okay. Um, all right, 5 minutes. Cool. Okay. The only other thing I could think of is like, and maybe we can add this in somewhere that we already have. Maybe in the first contention was like the possible like ecological like effect that like taking these animals could have like on I don't know the population of them or like Gosh, I'm
Yeah,
trying
like
to
we can
think.
maybe add that to like the claims for the first contention, like
Okay,
it has an effect on their ecosystem and like the
I like
places
that.
that they live.
Ecosystem. Okay, cool. I like that. Good. Okay, I'm trying to think like what we could add to the warrants or maybe the impact as well
Yeah, I
for
think
that.
maybe like for the second one, like another
Hmm.
impact could be like you're giving more of an audience to the platform that's like spreading false information.
Mm. Okay,
If
I like that.
like because of the social media trends.
Okay, cool. Trying to think what else we could possibly add.
So I guess like in my speech, like I don't want to go too far into the contentions and stuff because then I don't want you to not have anything to
For
say.
sure. Hmm.
I'm like kind of like, how are we supposed to do that?
Um, gosh. Well, I think another thing that I'm probably gonna do is I know when reading it, like we can refute like the other side, like and talk about like the possible refutation like the other side might have. And so I think I'm gonna bring something up like that. Um, like for example, like if I was the negative, I would probably be like, oh no, like the social media presence of these animals like spreads awareness and stuff. But then I'm gonna be like, well, actually, no, it's not. So I'll probably throw something in there like that.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, truthfully, we have 2 minutes.
I
Yeah,
know.
just try as much as you can to be like surface level in the beginning, I guess. And
We're
then I can, if you need to, you can go into more depth, and I can just try to spitball when I get gets to my speech. But yeah, like, and then I'll summarize all the contentions at the end then too, and then I'll also, I guess I'll ask the judge to agree with our stance that not capybaras, that the glorification of this house regrets. Oh yeah, I'll ask the judge to agree that this house regrets the glorification of trendy animals. And then so I have somewhat of an outline, I guess, with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just it'll be all good. Just do your best to not go super in depth, but if you have to, it's all good. We're gonna repeat each other um a little bit, and that's all right. So
Yeah.
okay, and then she said we could also take a second and just read over all of it before we jump right into the speech. So
Yeah.
we still have a minute, but I mean, I feel like we're pretty like
Right.
set. So
I think we're good.
cool. Okay, I'm gonna like just read mine really quick to make sure it's all flush. I didn't make any like errors at all. All right. I guess I'm ready to go whenever you are.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so I guess do I need to start by like saying what our topic is?
Yeah, I would start by saying what our topic is. Maybe trying to like throw a hook in, I guess maybe too. Could be good.
A hook.
Um, I don't know. Just I'm trying to think like just like yeah, I would do like a little introduction. And then yeah, just go from there wherever you feel.
Okay. Whenever I feel. Okay, I guess I'm ready whenever. So,
Okay.
oh wait, I should probably time myself. I don't think I'm gonna go over 5 minutes.
It's all good. It's all good. No worries at all.
Okay. All right, are you ready?
Yeah, whenever you are.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so today we will be debating on the affirmative side for the House regrets the glorification of trendy animals. So we are focusing on the animals that are involved in the viral trends on social media. So these are animals such as like capybaras, birds, sugar gliders, otters. And these are not the only animals that are seen within the trends across social media. So our first contention is that the trends on social media, it harms the animals itself. So there are many different ways in which animals can be harmed from the spotlight of social media. And because these animals are involved in these trends, there are widespread and thousands, if not millions of people can be within the audience that are seeing these trends. So people aren't properly educated on how to care for the animals. So a lot of people are misinformed on the education or they don't require the necessary like tools for caring for these animals. And because of this, the animal can get mistreated and can be used kind of more as like a symbol rather than an actual creature who has needs and who deserves the care that it needs. So that ultimately affects like their physical and their psychological state because they aren't receiving the care that they need because the people aren't educated, which ultimately like leads to declines in the animal's health. So then our second contention is that it can spread misinformation on the animal to the general public. So within social media, it kind of presents animals as like harmless, when in reality, these animals can be aggressive or they can have like certain biological factors behind them that contribute to their decisions that people they don't understand because on social media they're just seen as kind of like these cute soft animals that anybody can have. And I think also too social media presents these animals as like simple creatures, so they just look like cute animals online that don't really need much care or attention, but in reality, they can be like really complex animals that have really distinct levels of care that they need that people aren't able to give them when they find these animals just off of social media because they're just seeing like a picture of the animal, a funny video of the animal, and they're not actually seeing the animal in their habitat, in their ecosystem. Um, and like needing the level of care that they actually require. So, social media, it kind of continues the cycle of animals being used or gotten by people who don't actually understand their full responsibilities when they take on the animal in their life, which can lead to not only like a disruption for the animal, but also a disruption for the person who's taking on the animal because the person is not equipped to handle this. So they're having to kind of like rearrange their whole life around the animal, but then also the animal is being pulled out of their habitat and being affected by that because now they're in a totally different environment. So the misinformation within these animals, it can cause like very severe harm to animals. And the misinformation is a big reason as to why these animals do experience harm. Yeah, and then the harm to the animal itself, obviously, that can lead to like animal abuse or it can lead to neglect within the animal. So the animal is not getting the proper treatment or care that it really needs. And at the end of the day, the animal doesn't deserve that, and it's not justified to take a social media trend from like a cute animal that you see and not be super educated on the care that they need or the life that they deserve, and take them out of their own habitat just to for the sake of like a social media trend and not something that is actually benefiting either parties. So, yes. Okay, that's all I got.
Okay, good. I think you did a great job. So I mean,
Perfect.
no worries at all. But gosh, okay. Let me take a sip of my water and then
Right, prepare
I'll
yourself.
I'll get into mine. All right.
You got this.
All right, I'm starting in three, two, one. All right, so yeah, as my partner said, we are the AF side that we regret the glorification of trendy animals such as capybaras, sugar gliders, birds, otters, and different things. And so, with that, we can get into this a little bit more. Our first contention is it harmful to? It is harmful to the animal itself. Our first claim is people do not know how to take care of the animals properly. For example, when trendy animals like this get posted online, like capybaras, example, you'll see a lot of creators and different people maybe run and get these animals, not do extensive research on ways to take care of them, the things that they may need, or and they just have lack of research and lack of knowledge of what actually goes into taking care of this animal and have it live a happy and healthy life. And that's just one way that is harmful. Another way is in content and on TikTok and social media, Instagram, different things. When people take animals like this, a lot of times they're using them as like figures and characters. They give them a name like they're almost like some sort of actor or worker from them. When in reality, they're an animal. They're an animal with feelings and emotions and all these different things, and they're not just some kind of figure in a sense. The next thing too is the effect that it can have on the ecosystem and the place that they live. When these trendy animals get brought up into social media and stuff like that, and people will go run to get the next one so they can go viral or wherever else. It can be very harmful to the ecosystem because all these people are grabbing into all these different places. It can be harmful to population, the ecosystem around them, the food chain, and all the different things that people really don't think of. And so, with that, it has a negative effect on the physical and mental side of these animals as they're not treated properly, and it's also harmful to the entirety of their species and the ecosystem which they came from, as it's hurting their population possibly, and the animals that are also surround that. And so overall, from our first contention, we see the impact is truthfully just an overall decline in the animal's health, ecosystem, and species when these trendy animals get blasted on social media. The next thing that we got into a little bit is the spread of the misinformation about the animals. Social media may be presenting improperly how animals behave or who they are. For example, you may see online that these animals are cute and cuddly and all these different things, but in reality, when you go be with one yourself or get one yourself, it could be extremely aggressive, maybe not act how you would think, or just differ completely from what you see online. And so that's just that can be dangerous to yourself and also the animal. Um, Next thing, social media also may present an animal as like low maintenance, easy to take care of, but in reality, they're much more difficult to take care of, especially with these trendy animals, these exotic kind of animals. They're much different than your normal house pet, like a dog or a cat or fish, etc. They can require extensive and different care that you would never think of, and that kind of ties back to what I was talking about earlier of people jump into these things and don't do the extensive research that they need to do. The next thing is that we have is these animals are said to be sometimes easy to get or accessible, but in reality they're hard to find. Kind of goes back to our first contention a little bit again that people start pulling from these ecosystems. Sometimes we've also seen where illegal trading becomes a thing, and these animals are taken illegally and not correctly, just in spite of trying to go viral on social media and be trendy and all the different things. So with that, social media can present misinformation that continues the trend of trendy animals being adopted without knowing the full responsibility that one has to take on. The impact of this is misinformation can end up harming the owner and the animal. And once again, you're giving people more of an audience to spread this misinformation. With that too, a possible refute a opposing side might say is the glorification of these trendy animals increases awareness and protection, different things, but I just don't think that's true at all. When you blast these animals online and people start grabbing them, taking them from different places they shouldn't be, and doing all these different things, I think it is more harmful than anything else. And so, with that all being said, I think the judge should stance with our resolution that this house regrets the glorification of trendy animals as it is harmful for the animals itself. It spreads misinformation. It can be harmful to humans. It can be harmful to just everyone around. And that is why we regret the glorification of trendy animals. Thank you.
Perfect. That was so
Okay,
good.
cool stuff. Thank you. I was trying to I don't even know.
Okay, let's see if I can stop. Okay.